Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lost Planning the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. How are you guys doing today? I hope everybody is having a nice time. I still have to fix the intro. I don't know what happened, how that got changed, but yeah, there you go. Welcome. Hi. We have some things to discuss, I guess. I guess we can discuss things. Is that allowed anymore? Are we allowed to discuss things? I don't even know. Mistakes were made last night. I just want everybody to know it's very unfortunate, but Uncivil Law has passed away. He has passed away from too much drinking last night. Never mind the super chat that he just sent in. He is dead. It's a sad thing. I have created an AI bot. I've created an AI bot that is funded, from my own personal charity work. And that AI bot goes around as Uncivil Law and pretends to be alive. It's amazing. It's really it took a lot to put together. He has done a lot of shows, so I was able to create an AI that would take images of him and it would would simulate responses. So I know, oh, he was on a stream earlier. Like I get it. I've been working on this for a while. Deploying it on Uncivil was unexpected. I didn't realize he would have to be the first user of the service. It was still in beta. It wasn't ready to go. But yeah, he did die, and any representation you see of him online, like in any capacity, is all this very comprehensive AI bot that it posts on social media, it does videos, it does chats. Obviously, he's here in the stream chat. I mean, the AI. I did just gender the AI, which I think that's what Kurt would have wanted. So there's that. We witnessed it on stream. I expect to be arrested and indicted at any moment for his murder. It's just it's a sad event. But in light of that, I have won because he is dead. And living is winning. So I just wanted to declare that victory. It's a sad day, but since I won, it's not that sad. It's a little sad. So it's too bad. It's too bad. We've got a chat here from Lost Bullets. Says Uncivil Law can't stand up to a Canadian Native American in a drinking contest. Well, I mean, he can't because he's deceased. That's pretty tough to do. Since he has passed and shuffled off this mortal coil, he can't stand up to anything. It's more likely that Greg Abbott will stand up than the dead. So, he said, he continues, he says, he showed his weakness last night. I would put 2 of him under the table. So there you go. It's, taunting and mocking the dead seems rude, but you are Canadian, so I guess. I don't know. But anyway, I hope that's okay with you guys. Sorry that it happened that way. For what it's worth, I felt rather terrible for most of the day today. So that was good. I did go on a show earlier and had a live chat Wednesday, which is why there were no videos today. There will be videos tomorrow. Oh, that and really feeling just nasty. So I also took a nap, which was nice. But yeah, I was on Midnight's Edge earlier today. That was great. A lot of fun being on Midnight's Edge. There was some weird miscommunications that happened with my appearance, so I apologize to them, even though, I did earlier, but I apologize to anybody who was waiting for me to show up. I thought I would be getting the invite from Tom, and his internet went out, so I didn't see the invite. It was in my message requests on Twitter from Andre. And so I didn't notice it right away, so I was a little late to the stream. But we got on, got going, got to meet some cool people, had a fun show. Lisa says, when are you uploading recent live streams? Well, I thought today was the 7th day, but apparently it's tomorrow is the 7th day. So I guess tomorrow I'll upload to the archive account. I tried to do it today. It didn't let me yet. So thanks YouTube for that. It's really fun. It's really fun having a channel strike, especially when I didn't do what they said that I did. With that, I had a really fun article to read through, and I guess I'll read a tiny little bit of it, but I can't read too much. Can't read too much. Did you guys see that Twitter removed Ron DeSantis's roundtable discussion on COVID? Yeah. Misinformation coming from an official government source, apparently, because Twitter is the arbiter, I guess, of what is right and wrong, not anybody else. So let me. This is lunacy. We're in Lunaticville here. So I am going to open up with this article that'll probably get me. It'll probably get me thrown off of YouTube or whatever. But I guess what the hell? You only live once. For what it's worth, Rudy Giuliani has asked to dismiss his the lawsuit from Dominion against him. Let me find this article real quick. Here we go. This is from The Verge, so it is massively trustworthy and wonderful. But really, we're not. This deals with vaccinations and with COVID, and I'm going to be very clear here. I am not making a statement about COVID or vaccinations or the propriety of them or talking about the WHO's recommendations. I'm going to laugh at an article along with the audience. Maybe they won't find it funny, but I think maybe they will. We're going to just do that. And we're not making a statement about the propriety of vaccinations at all because it has nothing to do with the theme of this article. Okay? So we gotta be very clear on that, I guess. That's not the right, oh my God, hold on. This thing is all screwed up because of me going to Florida. Everything is effed. Let's see. Okay, hold on. There we go. That's the one we want. Okay. And Bruce Jenner. I clicked the transition button. All right. Here we go. So this is from The Verge. What are we waiting for? This is by Monica Chin, which is not a fat joke about Monica Rial. That's allegedly this person's name. Monica Chin, okay? Can I zoom this in? Oh, yeah, there we go. I asked experts when vaccinated people can resume high-risk activities and got a whole bunch of answers. All right. So here's the question, right? Like, okay, bunch of people are getting vaccinated. Vaccines seem to be effective. So when can I go to a football game or a baseball game or a basketball game? Or when can I go to the movies? Or when can I go make out with strangers at a club, right? That's the question. That's the question this person has. Oh, shit. Before we get too far into this, I got to catch this initial, there was a chat that didn't make it right at the beginning here. Kiwi Goes Live says, in Nick Ricada voice, hey guys, I'm going to try that whole John McAfee boat life for a while, just because. Also, RIP to Kurt. Again, no connection. So there you go. It's unfortunate that we've lost Kurt again. It's really sad. Lost Bullet says, I, Nick Ricada, believe that vaccines cause autisms. If I disavow or other backtrack this comment, then I am a Maddox. Thank you, Lost Bullets. Thank you for that super chat that you sent. Provolone Loaf says, a gay cowboy and a grifting shekel nose stream needs a drink along. We'll do the next time I can to drink into oblivion. Keep being fun, duder, and thanks for the locals listings for archives. Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. Like I said, they'll go back up on the archive channel. I am not taking any of them to private until they're able to be uploaded. All right. So here is this thing. Here's this article. Let's just marvel at where people are in regards to bootlicking. Okay. It's been over a year since my office shut down. Over a year since I went to a bar, a fitness class, a movie theater, a concert, a Knicks game, or to the many other public events that were once centerpieces of my social life. But there's finally a finish line in sight. There are 3 safe and effective COVID-19 vaccines authorized and available in the U.S., and at least 90% of all adults will be eligible to receive one by April 19th. If our current vaccination pace continues, 75% of adults will have at least 1 dose by early summer. Reader, I am dying to get back to my favorite activities, and I can tell that people around me are too. But according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, vaccinated people aren't out of the woods yet. The agency's current guidelines still severely limit some activities that are a big part of many people's normal and some people's livelihoods: theaters, concerts, bars, sporting events, and the like. Now, I know concerts aren't more important than public health. Debatable. And I'm happy to follow expert advice for as long as needed to stop the spread of COVID-19, but that hasn't stopped me from wondering when. When can our pre-pandemic lives resume? Without distancing, capacity limits, quarantines, and other restrictions. When can I go clubbing again? Oh, Monica. Aw. Oh. Poor Monica. Look at her. She just wants to go clubbing again. She just wants to go. I'm sorry, Monica. That's not how this works. That's not how this works. Lately, there's been a lot of great writing about what vaccinated people should and shouldn't do right now, but that didn't help me get a clear picture of what the future might hold. So I spoke to 7 experts who have all been involved in studying or treating COVID about a slightly different question. What signs are we waiting for? When will we know that we can get back to normal? You know the answer already, right? You know the answer, don't you? You can't. You can't get back to normal. You don't get to go back to normal. Why would they let you go back to normal when you just acquiesce to not being normal? This is the new normal, not the new temporary normal. It's the new normal. They've said it so many times. It's a new normal. Those other industries, well, those are all antiquated artifices of older times. Sorry. You don't get to go back. Those are difficult questions to answer because there are a lot of uncertain variables, and the situation is changing rapidly. The U.S. is averaging over 3 million doses per day, and some states are already dropping their pandemic restrictions. But COVID cases are still on the rise, and officials are worried about an upcoming surge. Of course they are. Of course they're worried about an upcoming surge. There's always an upcoming surge. To understand what our normality goalposts are, it's important to first understand what those unknowns are and why the CDC is asking people to keep being patient after they get their shot. Look. There you go. I don't know. I don't know what to say here. Let's start with the basics. If I'm fully vaccinated, why should I still avoid crowds? A good question. Panel. When you're fully vaccinated, you want to avoid coming into close contact with unvaccinated people. For one, no vaccine's 100% effective. Some experts I spoke to believe they're effective enough that vaccinated people can justifiably stop worrying about their own risk, while others continue to urge caution. But everyone agreed that while we have data on the efficacy of the vaccines in preventing you from getting severe COVID yourself, we have less information about how well they prevent you from potentially passing it to unvaccinated people. Every expert I spoke to cited this as a reason vaccinated people still needed to be cautious while COVID is widespread in their area. It's also mentioned in the CDC's guidance. I pressed on this, though, because it's not the case that we have no information about this topic. Preliminary studies from Israel have indicated that Pfizer's vaccine greatly reduces transmission. The CDC recently found even more evidence that Pfizer's and Moderna's shots are highly effective at preventing infection in vaccinated frontline workers. So I asked the experts how much more information they'd need before they were comfortable with vaccinated people returning to public crowds. We got a wide variety of responses here. We're just going to leave it here. We're going to leave it here. Because there's no point in going on. You know what this thing says? It says they're going to follow the science and the WHO's guidelines. But you have to understand, whatever the science is and whatever those guidelines are, they're informed by politics and they're informed by power. At least to the same degree as science. And with that, you don't get to go back to normal. You don't get to go back. You get to go back when they tell you get to go back. And you have to also understand that that means that if you get to go back, it's because they say so. And if you try and have a discussion with experts that aren't approved experts, well, then you get thrown off of Twitter. You get thrown off of YouTube. You have to have approved experts. Only approved experts are approved. So there's that. I thought it was great. It's a great thing because it so perfectly indicates. It so perfectly indicates what's going on with this stuff. All right, I've got let's see. See if I can find a video here. Here we go. No, pause. God, you're terrible. This is another story on the COVID front. This has nothing to do with vaccines or anything like that. So again, YouTube, don't even at me. I'm not talking about any vaccine guidelines or anything like that. I think everybody should listen to what the WHO says and make informed decisions about their health. All right. Business licenses suspended for 2 Vancouver restaurants breaking COVID-19 health orders. Now, that's the sad result of this story, but I want to show you the happy video. This is the happy video. Canada seems to be getting tired of what's going on. I don't know if you guys have noticed. They seem to be a little bit tired of Canadian restrictions. So here we go.
Get out, get out, get out.
Watch carefully.
Oh, God damn it. Why don't they just have the unedited video?
So we just got file on health inspector here.
Okay, so I think this is the same health inspector from before, this weird lady. But there's a health inspector here in a restaurant.
Woman, and I follow the common law, so you have no jurisdiction over me. When you see the signs on the door there, so no trespass. Okay, and you understand what you're doing here, you're trespassing on my private property.
You're trespassing.
Well, we are. You're gonna ask to leave. Get out, 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 get out,
Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out, get out, get out! They don't have power unless you give it to them. Get out. And of course, they'll do what they're going to do, right? They suspended their business license until later in April 19th, I think. They suspended the business license. They're going to do that. Of course they will. But they don't get to thug at you on your own property unless you let them. Get out. You don't have a warrant? Get out. Get out now. Not in a minute. Not in 10 minutes. Not when you're done talking. Get out. And yes, we watched the Canadian preacher, 2 days ago. 2 days ago. So, people are getting tired of this. They're getting tired of the boots on the necks. There's a cop on trial for that right now. They're getting tired of it. Because of course they are. This is bullshit. Get out. Get out of my business. Get off my land. Get out of my property. This stupid Verge article. Let's do this one. When can I go see Hamilton? You can't. When can I have my birthday party? Here's the good news. Your birthday party, book club meeting, and other personal gatherings should be fine now, provided that everyone invited is fully vaccinated. So if you've been holding out on throwing an indoor birthday party, you should be waiting until 2 weeks after everyone on your invite list has had their shots. You know what's even better? The other day at the Supreme Court, a lawyer for the government argued that if a cop looked in a window and saw people inside without masks on, that they would be justified in entering the property without a warrant. That's what a lawyer argued to the Supreme Court. It was an unrelated case to that, but that's where the government is right now, by the way. That's where the government is. Learn the words. Get out. Learn the words. No, you cannot come in. No, you cannot come in. Normal people are finally learning this. No, I don't consent to you entering the property. No, I'm not comfortable with you coming in. No, get the fuck out! Get out! Get out! You cannot come in. You cannot search my house. I see people without masks. Yeah, get out. Get out. Go bury your head in lava. Fuck off. Get out. Everybody start learning it. You need to start learning this because your neighbors, we don't have herd immunity from the government anymore. We don't have herd immunity from the government. This is probably the biggest problem we've got with authoritarianism is we used to be a country of herd immunity from tyranny. Because for every cuck, there were 1,000 people who realized that, yeah, the government doesn't get to walk all over me. Guess what? You're in the minority now. We're in the minority now. Now you have people like this dumbass from The Verge, Monica Doublechin, sitting here complaining. When will my masters tell me I can go talk to people again? When will they do it? Monica's not the minority anymore. We are. And until we learn, until we get that spirit back into the people, which I don't know when that is, generations of time required for that. Until you get that, learn the words. I do not consent. Get out. No, you may not. No, you cannot come in. Show me a warrant. Don't let them in your house. There was a story we covered on this channel a while back. Maybe you guys remember. There's a kid on his distance learning program, his government-approved distance learning program, where there was a BB in the back, a BB gun in the background, mounted on a wall. You know, just a inert BB gun sitting mounted on a wall in the background. And so the school called the police. They called the police, and the mom let the police officers in, thinking she was going to show them, no, my son's doing a good job. He's got discipline. The BB gun is there. The cops searched the entire house. Cops treated them like criminals. They didn't charge them with a crime. But imagine sitting there watching cops search through your house. For what? What are you searching for? It wasn't a Nerf gun, Drar and Fury. That was a different one. You know what the mom said? The mom said about that? She said, I wanted to show them that my child was doing the right thing. Now I regret even letting them in my house. Cops will wreck your shit worse than kids any day. They don't care. They come in, search through stuff, throw stuff around, open stuff up, take it out, leave a mess, and then they leave. They leave. They violate your life. That's their job. It's not that they're not bad guys, right? They're just doing it. If you consent, they'll do it. Don't consent. Don't consent. No more. No more consent for them. You get pulled over. Talk to a lawyer in your jurisdiction about this, but me, anyone who talks to me in a legal capacity now is going to probably be getting the same advice. Don't take a field sobriety test. Don't consent to a field breathalyzer. If they have probable cause, they will take you to a station and you'll take the intoxilizer. You'll blow there. Don't give them any more evidence than that. Field sobriety test. Who was it? Bruce Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen got pulled over the other day for drunk driving. Do you guys, know this? You hear about this? You hear about this? Got pulled over for drunk driving the other day. You know what he blew in the intoxilizer? 0.02. Legal limit's 0.08. They charged him with DUI. But he blew a 0.02. Doesn't matter. They had other evidence that he was driving under the influence. No more consent. No more consent. You can be stone sober, not had a drink in a year. You stumble while doing that heel-to-toe test. You wobble. Your eye does a little twitch on the horizontal nystagmus test. Guess what? You get charged. But I blew nothing. There was the breathalyzer. Yeah, well, the breathalyzer doesn't catch everything. It's not perfect. Wolvenar, Bruce Springsteen, he acquiesced. He pled it down. He paid a $500 fine. Made it go away. That's Bruce Springsteen, though. Do you have $500? Just give to the cops? If you even get that luxury? No more consent. No more consent. We're going to need you to take a field sobriety test. Nah, that's okay. Again, talk to a lawyer in your jurisdiction because there could be legal ramifications for that. Make sure you're getting legal advice from an actual lawyer that you pay. Don't ever get your legal advice from YouTube. I'm here to provoke your thoughts, not here to protect and defend you. But we need to really start rewiring our defaults here. We really need to start rewiring all this stuff. Because the government, we gave them power. We gave them a taste. What if they force you for blood tests? Well, if they take you to the station to do the intoxilizer at the station, that's different than the field breathalyzer. That one you typically are legally required to do if they have probable cause for it. So I do not recommend avoiding that one. Very, very few people have a beneficial result from not blowing into the breathalyzer or the intoxilizer at the station. There's a very limited group of people with existing DUIs who are driving maybe with kids in the car or something like that. You have to have a significant amount of aggravating factors before it's worth it to avoid blowing in that second one, even if you're guilty. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your field sobriety tests. But this is the same as searches to your vehicle. This is the same as searches to your home. This is the same about letting CPS come in your home. No. CPS knocks on your door. You going to let them in? Hello? Hi, we're from Child Protective Services. We just want to check on the welfare of your child. Yeah, do you have a warrant? No? Fuck you. Leave. Get out. Get out. Hi, I'm so-and-so calling from the government. We just want to come inspect your water line. No. No. Thank you. I'll pay a private company to inspect it. Thanks. No. Get out. Get out. Leave. You're not welcome. Lord Famine, CPS is government, at least in Minnesota. They're a branch of the Department of Health and Human Services. But anyway, so that's that. Get out. Get out. All right, let me find Razorfist here. For those of you who don't know, I like Razorfist very much. I think he's hilarious. I think he's great. And I'm not, my feelings are not hurt. My feelings are not hurt by this. But I want to discuss this thing because this is a case that we talked about on the show. And there's some misspeaking going on. And we need to address it with Minnesota law in mind here. Let's see. Here we go. All right, let's go this way. Sorry, getting everything set up here. Mithrin Emra says, Even sans consent, that cop who searched the house would have been justified if SCOTUS agrees to the community caretaking exception to the fourth that was argued. Scary thought. Yep. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully they don't have their heads up their asses. Have Razorfist and I spoken before? Yes. I had him on for a show to talk about Michael Jackson, and I had him on one of the election streams. So, to talk about what was going on in Arizona. Like I said, I like him a lot. I respect his opinions. I think he makes some statements here that are not correct, and that's okay. So I want to clear those up, and then we're going to look at the case in question. We'll look at the case in question and talk about it. And the statements that he makes that are not correct are really, really limited and minor. Well, here, we'll just start with it. So here's his tweet. It says, while we worry about the outcome of a trial over a drug overdose, Minnesota's castle doctrine is now formally dead. This I would disagree with thoroughly. This is not what I would suggest is going on here. And I think this appeal that they're here, he's not appealing the castle doctrine, actually. He's appealing on other grounds. So this is not formally dead. Now, if Razorfist has the opinion that the castle doctrine in Minnesota is meritless, then that's a fine opinion to have. And that may be in some ways correct. I don't think I fully agree with that. However, it is. I want people to understand that this appeal was not the Minnesota Supreme Court overturning the castle doctrine or something like that. But he says, muttering to yourself about what you might have to say to police if home invaders arrive and you have to defend yourself is not premeditation. Okay. This case is a lot more complicated than that. But here we go. So Soder, this is I am Soder from my Discord. He's a good friend of mine. He says, parked his car away from, well, let's just read through all of these. He says, maybe if you put as much work as you did to Jackson's case, you know that's not right. He says, this isn't refutation. It's just, no, you're wrong. Example, proof, or shut the fuck up, you totalitarian Taiwank. Which is kind of funny about Soder. You got wrecked, Soder. Very much not a totalitarian in any way, but it's good. It's good. So he says he parked his car away from the house. He laid in wait, shot them, then executed them and waited to call the police. He didn't actually ever call the police. Ricada Media even called it a bad shoot. I'll let the totalitarian insult slide since you don't know me from Adam. And here it is. Then Ricada's full of shit. He didn't even spell my name right, that son of a bitch. This is a soft brain bullshit take. No gun was pointed at their heads, forcing them to invade a stranger's home, stealing weapons he had to assume they were armed with, and who the fuck records what they believe is premeditated murder? Retardation. All right. The premeditation comes from the fact that the guy admitted to pre-planning this. Like, he set up I don't want to call it a trap. He set up a scenario by which he would end up defending his home. Now, there are principled arguments to make here. Is it his home? Yes. Does he have a right to defend it? Yes. Had there been burglaries in the neighborhood? Yes. Had there been burglaries to his house? Yes. Do I care that he shot these people? No. Do I think that he was justified in shooting them? At the beginning, maybe. It's what comes next that is what ends up burying this guy. Now, he went to a jury trial on this. He was convicted of first-degree premeditated murder. And we're going to go through some appeals documents here to take a look at it. Let's see. I've got two different ones we're going to look at here. We've got State v. Smith. This is his, is in the Supreme Court of Minnesota. This is back in 2016. We're going to look at these for the facts sections. And then we've got another one here. This is Byron Smith versus Jeff Titus, who's the warden of the correctional facility. And this is a civil case, civil rights violation or habeas corpus petition. And we're going to take a peek at this one for its facts section too. This one's a little shorter, so we'll start with it. OR2891 says, pulled over recently and asked if they could search my vehicle. Told deputy I don't consent to searches, and he said, no problem, just doing my job. Sometimes it's just a matter of asserting your rights politely. Yes. Yes, and more appropriately, no. No, you may not. But by the way, it's not his job to just search your vehicle at random, so that was really weird. That was really weird. So here we go. A jury in Minnesota State Court convicted Byron Smith of 2 counts of murder in 2014, and the trial court imposed 2 life sentences. The Minnesota warden, Titus, is automatically substituted for his predecessor, blah, blah, blah. On Thanksgiving Day in 2012, Smith shot and killed 2 people, Nicholas Brady and Haley Kiefer, who had broken into his home in Little Falls, Minnesota. Little Falls is a tiny town. This is not in the cities. This is not something like that. Little Falls is like 1,500, 2,000 people. All right. The prosecution presented evidence that Smith shot each of the victims as they descended stairs into the basement of his home and then shot and killed each of them at close range after they lay injured on the basement floor. Smith maintained that he used reasonable force in defense of himself and his home. He sought to introduce evidence at trial that Brady had participated in a series of burglaries of Smith's house in the weeks before the shooting. Although there was no evidence that Smith knew or suspected Brady before the date of the shooting, Smith wanted to call witnesses to testify about Brady's involvement in the previous burglaries. This is critical. It's the mix of the news and the legal questions. Brady was not aware that the people breaking into his home were the same people that broke into his home until after they were dead and at trial. He didn't know when he shot them who they were. Had no idea. Didn't know it was them. He found out later that that Brady was the person who broke into his home allegedly. I guess it's never been proven prior to this, and then attempted to introduce that evidence at trial. He was not allowed to introduce the evidence that Brady was the one who broke into his home. And that's part of Razorfist's reasoning here. Razorfist mentions that he knew that these people stole guns from him. He actually doesn't know that. He does not know that at the time that he shoots them. He finds out later that it was them. Now, he may have suspected it, right? He had guns stolen from his house. So he may suspect they're being armed. I believe it was a shotgun, but we'll get more facts in the next one. But this is about the trial not having part of the hearings were not public for some various reason. The court decided that was fine. I probably disagree with that being fine. I think public trials are essential to liberty, but that's what the court does, and that's not the discussion we're having here on this one. So I wanted to point this out that there's no evidence that he knew or suspected Brady before the date of the shooting was the one involved. But let's read this one. This one is the better factual scenario because it's the criminal case. It's his appeal in the criminal case. Nix Hex says, talk to my bank to confirm a suspicious charge. Support guy read some of my recent charges out loud, one of them being Rakita Law. I told him he needs to watch your channel. Hopefully you gain another follower. That's great. That's great. All right. So we're going to go through the facts of this case from the Supreme Court's, establishment. So these are the facts established at trial that the decisions were made upon. And that's the important stuff. This murder case arises out of the deaths of Nicholas Brady and Haley Kiefer, who Smith killed in his home on Thanksgiving Day 2012. Smith, who lived in Little Falls, was the victim of a series of burglaries at his home. During a burglary on October 27, 2012, valuable items were taken, including a shotgun and a rifle. Now, see, Razor says says, and I think this is incorrect, but maybe he's got more information than what's listed here. He said that the weapons that were stolen from Smith's home were easily concealable. Well, a shotgun and a rifle are not easily concealable, so I think maybe he has some information mixed up here. I think maybe he has some information mixed up there. So, but on we go. If they also stole like handguns, I'm willing to accept that. It's just not in the factual record at the Supreme Court level. Smith notified the police who investigated the crime. The intruder left a shoe print on the panel of the basement door when kicking it in. Police were unable to determine who was responsible for the break-in. So good job. Smith was having trouble sleeping and was unhappy because of the break-ins. Smith suspected that his female neighbor, A.W., and her parents might be responsible for the break-ins. Smith's neighbor, W.A., told Smith that he believed A.W. and her parents were watching Smith's house to see when he came and went. Worried that the burglar would return, Smith started to carry his gun in his house. Around 10:30 a.m. on Thanksgiving morning, November 22nd, 2012, Smith and W.A. were talking outside of W.A.'s residence when they saw A.W. drive by. Less than an hour later, Smith moved his vehicle from his garage, which faced the street, and parked it several blocks away outside of the home of two state troopers. Smith later told investigators that he moved his car because he wanted to clean his garage and protect his car from vandalism. Smith then walked back to his residence, returning at 11:45 a.m. He walked through his backyard, which faced the river, instead of approaching the main entry of his house from the street. This is what you do when you want to move your car and clean your garage to avoid vandalism, right? That's how you do it. None of this is illegal. This is all fine to do, but Around noon, Smith went down to his basement and turned on a digital audio recorder. He sat down in an upholstered reading chair facing the side of the basement stairwell. Smith had a novel, a water bottle, and some snack bars. On his belt clip was a 9-shot revolver. Steps away from the reading chair was Smith's loaded Mini 14. Smith's outdoor video surveillance system was running. In the adjacent basement workroom was a screen showing pictures from 4 security cameras placed around the exterior of Smith's home. The events that followed were captured on Smith's audio recorder. About 11 minutes after turning on the recorder, Smith said, "In your left eye." A little over 17 minutes into the recording, Smith said, "Stop by tomorrow morning. No rush, but as soon as convenient. Can you do that?" "Yeah. Park to the north 100 feet. North. 100 yards north of the corner and walk from the west." Almost 23 minutes into the audio recording, Smith said, "I realize I don't have an appointment, but I would like to see one of the lawyers here." So he's apparently on the phone, is what we can take, right? We can take the idea that he's talking to people on the phone. It's being picked up by the audio recorder, and he seems to be preparing for something. I don't know. Maybe. Wit11B says, "Razorfist calls you out for what? Not being a hair metal trash bag, an 80s metal fake tough guy?" Damn. I don't know. I don't think so. He just said my opinion on this case was full of shit. Actually, he said I was full of shit because of my opinion on this case. Which I don't even remember what my initial opinion on the case was, other than I think we just went through why the jury found this guy guilty. But I could be wrong. I don't remember the stream that I did on it. It was a long time ago. All right, here we go. At 12:33 p.m., Nicholas Brady approached Smith's house, looked into the windows, and tried the doorknobs. Smith heard the doorknobs rattling, saw a shadow in front of the picture window in the basement, and listened as Brady walked across the deck. Then glass broke upstairs, which was the sound of Brady breaking and entering through Smith's bedroom window. Brady approached the basement stairs. Below, Smith sat waiting. As Brady descended the stairs, Smith saw Brady's feet, his knees, then his hip. Smith shot Brady in the chest with the rifle. Smith later told investigators that he had not seen Brady's hands when he fired. Smith shot Brady a second time. Brady tumbled down to the basement floor, face up. 3 seconds later, at close range, Smith shot the groaning Brady. The bullet went through Brady's hand and then through the side of his head. Smith said to Brady, "You're dead." Smith retrieved Brady's shoes, which had fallen off when Brady fell down the stairs, and put them under his reading chair. Grabbing a tarp from near the basement fireplace, Smith put Brady on the tarp and dragged him to the adjoining workroom. Smith reloaded his rifle. About 10 minutes after Brady entered and about 8 minutes after the shooting, Haley Kiefer entered Smith's house. Kiefer quietly called out, "Nick?" Hearing no response, she started down the basement stairs. She again said, "Nick?" Just as he had with Brady, Smith fired when he saw Kiefer's hips, but before he saw her hands. Smith later told the police that his first shot was at what he would consider point-blank range. Kiefer tumbled down the steps. Smith tried to shoot her again, but his rifle jammed. Smith commented, "Oh, sorry about that." Kiefer exclaimed, "Oh my God." Smith pulled out his revolver and shot her. Amidst Kiefer's screams, Smith shot her a third time and a fourth time. Smith said, "You're dying." Kiefer screamed. Smith shot her a fifth time, calling her bitch. Smith dragged Kiefer into the workroom and placed her on the tarp on top of Brady's body, but Kiefer was not dead yet, so Smith shot her a sixth and final time. For the next 5 hours after the shooting, Smith stayed in his house. The audio recorder captured Smith talking to himself. His statements included, "I left my house at 11:30. They were both dead by 1. Of course, I'm safe now. Cute. I'm sure she thought she was a real pro. You're dead. I'm not a bleeding heart liberal. I felt like I was cleaning up a mess, not like spilled food, not like vomit, not even like diarrhea, the worst mess possible, and I was stuck with it. In some tiny little respect, I was doing my civic duty. If the law enforcement system couldn't handle it, I had to do it. The law system couldn't handle her, and if it fell into my lap and she dropped her problem in my lap, and she threw her problem in my face and I had to clean it up, they weren't human. I don't see them as human. I see them as vermin. Social mistakes, social problems. I don't see them as human. This bitch was going to go through her life destroying things for other people, thieving, robbing, drug use. It's all fun, cool, exciting, highly profitable until somebody kills you. It's a sucker shot. People going down strange stairs naturally watch the steps. Like I give a damn who she is. It's not a mess like spilled food. It's not a mess like vomit. It's not even a mess like diarrhea. It's far worse. Then they take slice after slice out of me. $5,000 slice, $10,000 slice. And if I gather enough evidence, they might be prosecuted. If they're prosecuted, it might go to court. If it goes to court, they might be found guilty. If they're found guilty, they might spend 6 months, 2 years in jail, and then they're out. And then they need money worse than ever, and they're filled with revenge. I cannot live a life like that. I cannot have that chewing on me for the rest of my life. I cannot. I refuse to live with that level of fear in my life. She's tough. She's eye candy. It's something games. It's exciting. It's highly profitable until somebody kills you. Until you go too far and somebody kills you. Until you take advantage of somebody who's not a sucker. Mother and father are semi-psychotic. Both are semi-psychotic. I put even odds that one or the other will come here with a gun. Smith did not call law enforcement on November 22nd. Now, mind you, he killed them around 12:45 in the afternoon. As he later explained, I was sitting there afraid that most likely the brass-plated bitch would nag him into it and he would come over with a gun to see what had gone wrong. I was sitting there afraid. Smith also said he did not want to ruin the Thanksgiving holiday for law enforcement. That's nice. The next day, November 23rd, Smith spoke to WA on the telephone and asked WA to find him a lawyer. Later, Smith asked WA to contact the sheriff's office. Smith advised WA that he had solved the break-ins in the neighborhood. WA called the sheriff's department. Over the course of several conversations with dispatch and department personnel, WA asked that Sergeant Luberts, who had investigated the burglaries at Smith's residence, respond to Smith's residence as soon as he was available. A short time later, he and another deputy arrived. As the peace officers arrived at the house, Smith came out of the door with his hands up and said he needed to tell them something. After leading the officers into his home, Smith explained that he was a victim of previous burglaries, the most recent occurring the day before. On Thanksgiving. Smith led the officers to the bedroom to see the broken glass. Smith told the officers that he needed to show them something in the basement. There, the officers saw the body of Kiefer and Brady on the tarp. Smith told the officers how he shot a man coming down the steps. Smith explained that he wanted the person dead and shot him until he was dead before dragging him onto the tarp. Don't talk to the cops. Smith described how he shot a woman coming down the step. Smith said that he shot the woman again after she fell to the bottom of the steps, this time aiming for her heart. Smith told the officers that after he dragged the woman into the workroom, he noticed she was still gasping for breath, so he shot her. Smith explained that he thought the woman was his neighbor, A.W. The officers arrested Smith and took him to the sheriff's office for questioning. During Mirandai's interrogation, Smith reviewed the burglaries leading up to and including the Thanksgiving shootings. For the past month, Smith had felt very threatened when he heard people coming down the stairs of the basement. Smith believed they were burglars who stole his guns. He added, "I figured they're willing to use guns if they steal guns, and I decided that I've got a choice of either shooting or being shot at." Smith described how he killed Brady as he came down the stairs. "I saw his feet, then I saw his legs. When I saw his hips, I shot." When the investigator asked whether Smith saw Brady's hands when Brady came down the steps, Smith added, "I didn't see his hands at that point." Smith explained how Brady tumbled to the floor, and he's looking face up at me, and I shoot him in the face. I wanted him dead. After he shot Brady, Smith sat back down in the chair, and his adrenaline was going. I just wanted to calm down more than anything else. Smith also described how he shot Kiffer in the hip as she came down the steps. Again, Smith shot before he saw her hands, and when she fell on the ground, her hands were open, but she would have dropped anything she was carrying. But he was not going to ask if there's a gun. You know, people who steal guns, I don't want to give them the chance to shoot me. She could have or might not have had gun in her hands. Smith also elaborated on why he killed the woman he thought was AW. And thinking back on it, what happened was everybody has red buttons. Everybody has sore spots. And I've known since grade school that being ganged up is a sore spot with me. I just wasn't thinking. I didn't think. I wasn't thinking. I was just, they're ganging up on me, so I killed her too. Smith thought that Kiffer laughed at him when his rifle jammed. It wasn't very long laugh because she was already hurting, he explained. There was another red button. I guess most people would have. So if you're trying to shoot somebody and they laugh at you, you go again. I fired more shots than I needed to. That's a critical mistake. When asked, why did you fire more shots than you needed to, do you figure? Smith replied, a 22 is a pea shooter, and I was very, very threatened and unhappy. Smith was asked, you were mad, correct? Smith responded, yes. Smith described how he dragged Kiffer onto the tarp and explained, after she was on the tarp, she was still gasping, and as much as I hate someone, I don't believe they deserve pain, so I gave her a not discernible shot under the chin up into the cranium. I thought she was dead. It turned out she wasn't. So I did a good, clean finishing shot. And she gave out the death twitch. First time I've ever seen it in a human, but it works the same in beaver and deer or whatever. Damn. Smith explained how he checked Kiffer's shoes to see if the tread pattern matched the shoe print left on the basement door from the October 27 burglary. When he determined her shoes did not match, he checked Brady's shoes. Smith thought Brady's tread pattern might match and that law enforcement would need to investigate further. Toward the end of the interrogation, Smith recounted the previous burglaries at his home. Smith explained that even after he started locking his doors, the dogs had eaten through the garbage pail they kept returning. Smith also said that he now realized that parking far away was likely the impetus for the burglars to come because they thought he was gone. Smith had never parked his car in that location before. Smith was charged by complaint with 2 counts of second-degree murder. A grand jury then indicted Smith on 2 counts of first-degree premeditated murder. Smith moved to dismiss the indictment. The district court denied the motion. Court of Appeals denied his petition for discretionary review. At trial, Smith's main defenses were that he used reasonable force in defense of himself and his dwelling. The judge instructed the jury that the state had the burden of proving beyond a reasonable doubt that Smith did not use reasonable force. Following trial, a jury found Smith guilty of 2 counts of second-degree murder and 2 counts of first-degree premeditated murder. The district court convinced Smith of 2 counts of first-degree premeditated murder, and sentenced him to 2 concurrent life sentences without the possibility of release. He appealed. So, that's the facts that we have here. So they go through this, and we can keep going through. I probably will in a little bit go through this. But what does this guy in is following up on these people. Like that's why the jury convicted him. It's not my opinion. It's not my opinion that this guy should be convicted, but it makes sense to me that the jury convicted this guy based on his actions, based on what he said about his actions. Like that makes a ton of sense. I can absolutely see why a jury would convict this guy. And saying, I wanted them dead to the cops? Terrible. Don't talk to the cops. Had this guy had proper counsel, he might not have been convicted. He might not have been charged. Waiting to call the cops till the next day was a terrible, terrible move on his part. Jared Martinez says, fuck the jury, Nick. Well, I mean, the jury's the one who decides his guilt. So if you say fuck the jury, then they'll fuck you back. And when they fuck you, you go to prison forever. So, yeah, him, Good Logic points out, his admissions of more shots than necessary practically begged for conviction. You can't say stuff like that. Why was it more than necessary? It doesn't seem like it was more than necessary. He was finishing them off. That's the necessary amount. I was still threatened. Did nobody hear the gunshots? I know, small town, but still. His revolver's a .22. Down in a basement? I don't know. So here we go. We first must decide whether the district court committed reversible error when it denied Smith's motion to dismiss the indictment for individual and cumulative errors. Smith raises 5 separate errors. The indictment was issued without the deliberation of and vote of a grand jury. He suffered substantial prejudice when the state attempted to impeach a witness. Prosecutor improperly disclosed to the grand jury that Smith was charged with second-degree murder. The instruction on premeditation erroneously blurred the distinction between first and second-degree murder, and the state elicited irrelevant spark of life evidence from victims' mothers. The state disputes each argument, but also argues that cumulatively the alleged errors do not undermine the probable cause for the indictment of the grand jury's independence. All right, so I don't want to go through that one. Let's see. Let's see. He doesn't really appeal his on the castle doctrine grounds. First argues that the indictment was issued without the vote and deliberation of the grand jury, because when they deliberated, the grand jury members did not have the formal indictment, which differed from the proposed indictment the state read to the jurors before deliberation. An indictment may only issue if at least 12 jurors concur. The indictment must be signed by the foreperson, blah, blah. During the grand jury proceedings, the state displayed to the grand jury on a screen and read aloud a proposed indictment. The state also placed paper copies of the proposed indictment on the table for the jurors to consider. Count 1 read in material part. He did wrongfully, unlawfully cause the death of a human being. To wit, Nicholas Brady, with premeditation and with intent to effect the death of Nicholas Brady, said defendant using a firearm as a deadly weapon at the time of the offense. Count 2 relating was otherwise identical. After deliberations in the presence of the grand jury, the foreperson announced that the grand jury had reached a decision to indict. State then prepared the formal indictment. Substantively, the content was the same as the proposed indictment, except that the references to wrongfully and to defendant using a firearm as a deadly weapon were removed from the formal indictment. Okay, so you're trying to get off on a technicality. That's not going to happen there. He next argues that the district court erred when it held that the state's attempt to impeach W.A., Smith's friend and neighbor, although improper, did not warrant dismissal of the indictment. The state's line of questioning before the grand jury dealt with a phone conversation between W.A. and Smith on November 23rd. W.A. told investigators that Smith had asked him, "Can you contact a lawyer for me and get a lawyer down here so I could talk to a lawyer?" In the grand jury, W.A. recounted that Smith had asked him to find a lawyer. The state asked W.A. if Smith had told him what kind of lawyer he needed. W.A. said no. The state asked repeatedly if he was sure. He did not recall telling law enforcement that Smith had asked him for a defense lawyer. The state also tried unsuccessfully to reflect his recollection in that regard. Okay, I don't think that's, again, they're stretching here. Obviously, the Supreme Court didn't do this. So this is not super heavy. Let's take a look at what the Castle Doctrine in Minnesota says. Let's see, where is it? Take a peek here. Always interesting. That's not very helpful. Authorize use of force. Authorize use of force. When authorized, except as provided in subdivisions 2 and 3, reasonable force may be used upon or toward the person of another without the other's consent when the following circumstances exist or when the actor reasonably believes them to exist. Let's see. When used by a public officer, nope. When used by a person not a public officer in arresting another, nope. When used by any person in resisting or aiding another to resist an offense. When used by any person in lawful possession of real or personal property, or by another assisting the person in lawful possession in resisting a trespass upon or other unlawful interference with such property. Okay, so reasonable force for property is here. Let's see. When used on a person to prevent escape or to retake following the escape of a person lawfully held on charge or conviction. Used by a parent, guardian, teacher, the exercise of lawful authority to restrain or protect. Correct. This is literally all force, by the way. School employee, common carrier, mental illness, blah, 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 blah. Deadly force against police officers is not allowed. All right, so. Oh, we've got chokeholds. Okay, let's go back to this section. So it says, the intentional taking of the life of another is not authorized by 60906 except when necessary in resisting or preventing an offense which the actor reasonably believes exposes the actor or another to great bodily harm or death, or preventing the commission of a felony in the actor's place of abode. So, this is pretty simply worded, right? Commission of a felony in the place of abode. Now, on the jury instructions for this guy, the state and the defense stipulated to the fact that these two were committing felony burglary in his home. That was in front of the jury. That was properly in front of the jury as well. The state agreed. The defense agreed. It was in there. The problem is not really the first shots. It's really not. The problem is the later shots, which seems weird, but that's the jury's issue here. Well, and all of the premeditation. Typically, I mean, I can look it up. I don't know if I'll be able to find it really quick. Let me see if I can. But typically, premedited self-defense is not self-defense in many, many jurisdictions. So that becomes a problem for him too. Let's see. See if I can find something on that. Let's see if we can get some opinions here. We've got decisions. I mean, admitting to executing people isn't self-defense. No. Nope, not really. Okay. See if we can find preventing felony. One does not have to fear great bodily harm or death to justify the use of deadly force to defend against commission of a felony in one's home. Where defendant testified that he shot the victim because victim was about to force his way into defendant's home. Defendant was entitled to self-defense instruction, which included, denying instruction. So let's see if there's something mitigating that. Victim's tendency at will and right. Let's see. Retreat. Duty to retreat does not attach to defensive dwelling claims. Provocation. Wouldn't be provocation. Let's see. Imperfect self-defense. No. Let's see. We'd have to probably really dig into this. Let's see. Yeah, not really helpful stuff in here on this one. I mean, I think I'm curious why they didn't appeal the justification. They should have appealed and said no reasonable jury could conclude that that he was not justified in his actions under the law. I'm surprised that's not in the appeal. I don't know why that's not in the appeal. Wolvenar says, so what is the limit in line for premeditation and self-defense? Could be argued that buying a gun years earlier to protect yourself is premeditation. I mean, this guy has... Come on now. You're extrapolating pretty far. This guy clearly wanted to communicate that he wasn't home. He snuck back into his home and he waited downstairs. He wanted to kill them. He thought his neighbor was going to come burgle his house and he wanted to kill his neighbor. That it wasn't his neighbor is, I guess, unfortunate, but we can't pretend that this guy was not aiming to kill people coming into his home. Like that was certainly on his plan. He set it up to do it. Like that's not even, if we're trying to argue that there's some like, oh man, this is a stretch too far to say he premeditated it. That's not a good argument. Now, can we say that premeditation is justified? That's a different discussion. That's a completely different discussion. So, because, I don't think, I mean, the Home Alone defense, right? Like if people are breaking into your house, you should, you could booby trap your house for all I care. You actually can't, under common law, but I think you should be able to. I think you should be able to. But, I mean, he's got serious problems with his case. Serious problems with his case. And that's why the jury convicted him. Now, why his lawyer didn't have ask the judge for a directed verdict or ask him to overturn the jury's verdict and say that with the fact that the state admitted that they were committing a felony in his home, that no reasonable jury should be able to conclude that he was guilty, that he was not justified. I don't know why they don't have that in the appeal. I don't know why they don't have that in the appeal. And maybe his lawyer did a bad job. I don't know. But, he admitted to moving the girl and then killing her. Moving the girl and then killing her. That probably did him in. You shouldn't record audio of yourself killing someone, generally speaking. That didn't help him. His statements after the fact probably shouldn't have been admissible, in my opinion. Those statements shouldn't have been in because they don't speak to his mind leading up to the killing. But they were admitted in, and those certainly didn't help him. Volan DeVol, no, I have not done that yet. I think had this guy shot the intruders right away, shot the intruder, let him fall, and then called the police, justified. I don't think they could have convicted him on that. Even if the next person came in after he had called the police and he shot her in the same way. But the execution shots, that's what's going to turn a jury on you, man. May not be fair, but that's what it is. Just admit your state is ultra cucked on self-defense. Well, my state isn't ultra cucked on self-defense. It's not the best state on self-defense, but there are many, many worse. We don't have a duty to retreat. We do still have a castle doctrine in the law, and we do still have justifiable use of deadly force for quite a bit. So I won't say the state's. I mean, Minnesota's a piece of shit state. I have no love for this state. I don't like it. I don't really. If you're gonna say I'm simping for the state, you'll be wrong. I pretty much hate it here. But that being said, there are way, way worse self-defense states in the country. And this case is not a good indicator of whether or not the castle doctrine is effective. Because this guy did a lot of shit and said a lot to cops that killed his case. Are you sure we don't have a duty to retreat? Not in our homes. And I'm pretty sure we don't have a duty to retreat at all. Well, here, we can check it out. Retreat. In the context of self-defense, there is no duty to retreat in one's own home. For purposes of a claim of self-defense in a homicide prosecution, there is a duty to retreat and avoid danger if reasonably possible. It relates to the election to kill, making a killing unjustified if the danger was reasonably avoidable. Murder defendant who abandoned his successful retreat from an imminent danger proposed by confrontation and returned as aggressor to shoot the victim from half a city block away cannot claim self-defense. So yeah, outside of the home, you have a duty to retreat. But inside the home, you do not. But, yeah. So, wait a minute. This one says there's a duty to retreat if reasonably possible, even in one's place of abode prior to using lethal self-defense. That's from 1998. This is from 2006. So, I think we'd go with the 2006 one better. Let's see. Defensive dwelling retreat. Does not attach to defensive dwelling claims where the defendant demonstrates the killing was done in the belief that it was necessary to prevent the commission of a felony in the building, and that defendant's judgment as to the gravity of the situation was reasonable under the circumstances, and the defendant's election to defend his or her dwelling was such as a reasonable person would have made in light of the danger to be apprehended. House in which defendant killed guest who allegedly attacked him was defendant's place of abode, and thus defendant was entitled to defensive dwelling, instruction, and prosecution for second-degree intentional murder, second-degree felony murder arising out of killing, where defendant owned house where killing occurred and house immediately behind it. Defendant lived in both houses part-time. Defendant's state identification card listed his address as a house where the killing occurred. Dun-dun-dun. So yeah, it's like I said, I'd take Minnesota over like New York or whatever. You don't have a castle doctrine. You must prove justification even in the home. You got to prove justification everywhere. But anyway, so that's this case. I can certainly see why the jury found him guilty. Again, if you want to have a principled discussion about whether he should be guilty or not, that's a different question. That's a different question. And, you know, I think this guy made a lot of missteps. That much is obvious. But there you go. So there you go. There's Razorfist calling me out. Again, I don't remember what I initially said about the case, but I still see exactly why this guy is guilty. I have questions for why his lawyer didn't try to overturn the jury's verdict and say that it was not a reasonable conclusion. But I mean, that's still a long shot, but it should at least be in the appeal. Why don't I move back to Texas? I can't move out of this state. I'm stuck here. But there you go. You guys can determine. It's not that simple. Razorfist makes up some facts that are not included in the case at all. The idea that they stole concealable weapons isn't in the case. The idea that he knew that they were the burglars who had been burgling him was not in the case. He actually thought it was a completely different person, and he wanted to kill that person. He moved his car far away, left his garage open, and then snuck back to the house so that he wouldn't be seen by the person he thought was going to steal his stuff. Like, he planned it. That was in his plan. Whether or not you should be able to plan, again, different question. But there you go. We've reviewed that case. It's an interesting case. I don't know if double life in prison is appropriate for the guy or not, but that seems like a lot. But I really do have questions about why they didn't appeal the jury decision as a matter of law. I also am not entirely sure why the 5-hour recording after he shot them was admissible. But let me give you some legal advice. Okay? Let me give you some legal advice. Don't try to induce burglars to come into your home while you're there. That's one of the big problems that this guy had at the beginning. It sure looked like he was trying to get them to enter his home while he'd be ready for them. And juries aren't going to look favorably on that. That might not be just, but them's the ropes on juries. Let me give you some more legal advice. Don't talk to the cops without a lawyer present. Let me give you even more legal advice. Don't record your self-defense in like that. I'm not going to advise you to delete the recordings, but he probably should have turned off the recorder after it was done. Having it on for the 5 hours while he walked around muttering or whatever he did. That's something that's unclear. It says he was talking to himself. But some of those, sounds like he's talking to another person. So is he literally just walking around like he's got these bleeding bodies sitting on a tarp in his basement, and he's just walking around his basement like, I had to do it. They deserved it. They're not even people. They're vermin. Turn off the recording, bro. Turn off the recording. Don't do that. It would have been a better case if he did booby trap it, though. I don't think so. Spring guns are illegal, and most lethal booby traps are actually unlawful to use. So I do not recommend them at all. How about smartphones and Alexa? Well, Yeah, Wolvenar, I get that it's typical when stressed to an extreme. I'm just saying, turn off the tape, man. They don't need to hear your adrenaline-fueled rantings. They don't need to do that at all. DJ Sarge says, currently sitting in line for food and watching some do a field sobriety test, and it's not going too well. Oh, no. Snuggle Struggle says, a Minnesota police chief swore under oath that Chauvin's neck restraint absolutely violated policy. I was put into a neck restraint head to by Minnesota police even after cuffed. Should I sue Minnesota PD? Deception equal politics today, lol. Were you damaged? Like, were you hurt? Were you harmed? Do you have lasting injury? How long ago was it? That's a lot of questions. You could certainly talk to an attorney and see if they'd want to bring a 1983 claim against them. OR2891 says, could you argue diminished capacity based on the previous break-in and dismiss his statements after the fact, as well as the burglaries in the community? The burglaries in the community and his previous break-ins were admitted in court. They were admitted in court. The fact about that his house was broken into 5 times in the past couple months, that was all in the record. He just couldn't testify that one of the deceased. He could not testify that one of the deceased was the burglar, because he didn't know at the time he shot them. So, he couldn't do that. Nick is sort of right, but I'm going to agree with Razor. As if, like, what? As if our opinions are divergent? I don't know that I disagree with Razor at all. In his assessment. I don't think they should have gone into the home. Like I said, jury questions are weird. All right. In general, jury questions are really tough because I can see why the jury convicted him. I don't know if I agree with that. I would have to sit on the case and hear everything. But at the same time, like, I can see how it happened. So that's what you get with a jury. And if he had had 12 different jurors, he might have had completely different outcome. Why am I stuck in Minnesota? Because I have too much family here. But again, this guy talking to the police saying, I wanted them dead and I shot more times than was necessary. That did it. I mean, that alone is enough to charge him. Those two statements are enough to charge him and maybe enough to convict him under the law. That's probably not fair. All right. I should lay that out there. That I don't necessarily think that's fair because people say things and this guy's being honest. And if someone was stealing from me, I'd probably want to kill him too. If people were breaking into my house, I would probably want them dead also. But you can't say it to a cop. You cannot say that in response to the questioning. Your response has to be, I was in fear for my safety. They were committing felonies in my home. I put an end to the felony. And that's about all you can say. Shade 221, no, I have a significant amount of family here. They will not follow me. No, it doesn't work that way. The audio of him saying you're dead probably didn't play well. All of the audio nailed this guy. But it's tough. Again, I think you should have the absolute ability to shoot someone in your home who is committing a crime. It's his statements that buried him in court, though, and everything else. Like again, the premeditation, the setup. Like, I'm gonna sit here with some fucking granola bars and wait to shoot someone as they come down the stairs. Like, in Minnesota, you have to show that your use of force was what a reasonable person would do. Most reasonable people, don't consider sitting in a rocking chair with granola bars, recording yourself, while you wait for your while you wait for someone to enter the home and you shoot them with your rifle and then shoot him in the face with a revolver. That's when someone is not in that situation, they don't think that's how they would act. And again, you've got a jury who's trying to put themselves in the shoes of the guy, I guess, but they haven't been there. They haven't had that experience. So they're going to look at it in a way where that looks crazy. I don't know if the doors were locked because he said the guy, I assume because he said the guy tried the door and then went and broke the glass. But yeah, that's it's an interesting case. So there's a huge update in the Chauvin trial that we'll have to address here. The prosecution is trying to looks like they're trying to lose this case. Rather than going at the medical examiner's autopsy, they're now trying to have their own autopsy dismissed. So, okay. That's kind of weird. They're going to now argue that the autopsy report that they used to develop probable cause to charge Chauvin is not admissible. And that their medical experts are now going to disagree with the autopsy report. So, look, if you're a defense attorney, that's exactly what you want to happen. like if you're wanting to win your case and say, yeah, there's reasonable doubt here, they dismissed their own medical report and are arguing against their own medical expert. That's a bad plan. That's a bad plan. I'm just saying. Like, I'm not a prosecutor, but that is not a good plan. Again, I'm gonna hopefully have a shorter video kind of explaining this stuff out tomorrow. After I get a look at it, I do want to do a video of the. What am I thinking of? I'm sorry, guys. My head's foggy today. I do want to do a video, the good lawyer, bad witness of Chauvin's attorney versus the Karen haircut fire EMT. That should be good, because that was some excellent lawyering done by that guy. Will you live stream the verdict? It's kind of hard to do that. It's kind of hard because who knows how long they'll be deliberating on this one. Snuggle Struggle says, since Minnesota PD wants to play politics and placate the mob, what happened to me is as they claim under oath. Taken to hospital, injury shown in the next evening in jail. Witness saw the whole thing. Also denied my meds for 5 days. Dude, the denial of meds in Minnesota jails, there was, I don't know if it's still going on, but there was a class action lawsuit about it. Because in Minnesota, they just deny meds to people in jail. It's great. They don't care about that at all. There's just like, I mean, so what? So what if he has chronic pain? One of my clients had extremely chronic pain, could not stand up on his own without assistance from like a railing or a cane, and they refused to place him in a handicap accessible cell. They took his cane away. So to get up, he had to slide off of his bed. He had to crawl across the floor and pull himself up by the toilet in his cell. And that's because his legs are all messed up from an accident. And because of that, he's also on significant and several intense meds, and they just wouldn't give him any. So good job. Good job. Don't go to jail. Socialism is for Fig says, so if you were defense and this whole autopsy got thrown out, what would you say? Would you have the judge throw the case? It sounds pretty bad for the state. Well, the judge isn't going to dismiss the case because the prosecution is going to, they're going to have their medical experts. But then you just attempt to use the facts from the only autopsy that exists, or the only medical examiner's report that exists, and you use it to impeach their medical witnesses. Couldn't it have been? Because apparently the state, and this is baffling to me, the state is trying to argue that Floyd died from asphyxia or mechanical asphyxiation. But the medical examiner, who they relied on to do the autopsy and whose report they relied on to bring the charges, said that he died from cardiac arrest, not asphyxia. So their argument is going to be that the cause of death was asphyxia. And so then that's all the defense has to do is take down what caused the death. It's like, so as the medical people are up there, say, what, isn't it true? You don't have any evidence that there was asphyxiation. Isn't it true that the medical examiner didn't find any evidence of bruising on the neck? You know, like we'll have to see what they come up with. But, you know, the original medical report did not mention any trauma to the neck, did not mention any obstruction of the airways or any of the other signs of mechanical asphyxiation. So we'll have to see how they do it. They can't exhume the body, can they? I mean, they've already got an autopsy report. They're not going to do another one. Josh Tureen says he had over 3 times the lethal dose of fentanyl. I mean, aside from having this discussion a million times, fentanyl doesn't have like a definitive lethal dose. I mean, I guess it does at some point, but people's size and tolerance levels are very, very important for opiates. And so what's lethal to one person might not be lethal to the next. That there's lots of doubt on the fentanyl stuff. However, one of the ways that fentanyl can kill you is asphyxiation. So I guess that helps. So it'll be really interesting to see what they go for here. It'll be, I don't know what the prosecution strategy is going to be. You guys are going to make me drink. I really didn't want to. Hold on. Okay. 1 drink. Oh, it's hypoxia, not asphyxia. Okay, my bad. Ugh. I was holding off drinking today because yesterday was pretty heavy. Drink in honor of the departed uncivil law and your brutal defeat last night. Look, I am happy. I am happy to be defeated by anybody in a drinking game. I have never and will never claim to be an expert drinker or like a big drinker or anything like that. Nope. I will consistently say it typically looks like I drink way more than I do. I'm not a heavy drinker. Don't care for the feeling that comes with heavy drinking. I said today was not the most fun day. But to uncivil law, may he rest in peace. The nose is red from a sunburn right on the tip, actually. Sunburned here, sunburned up here. That's nice. I got most of it. I actually have a sunburn like here too. Right? Like this. That's where the I had like a little stick that you rub on there. I just missed a line here, and I missed up in the hairline here. So, Dixon Kuntz says, Dixon Kuntz. God damn it. I can't wait for the HBO miniseries where they dramatize the Chauvin trial and make the defense attorney look like a racist, ignore all the facts, and twist them to fit the narrative. Yep. Sigurd Hellickson, Crypt Keeper. I did not bitch out without even trying. I drank way more whiskey than I would normally drink, and I hated every second of how I felt after. How many cupcakes do you think Vic ate? At least 6. That man was grabbing cupcakes like crazy. Okay. Let's see. What else are we going to do? There was something else I was going to talk about tonight. Let me see if I can find it. Where was it? Who do we have? Hold on. I'm scrolling through this thing that I saw. Let's see. Damn. This is not what I thought. Oh, did you guys notice the Cash Me Outside girl? Do you remember that chick? Cash Me Outside. How about that? That was like 5 years ago on Dr. Phil. She has broken the record for OnlyFans. She has broken the record for OnlyFans. She made $1 million in 6 hours. So she just turned 18. She just turned 18, opened up the OnlyFans, and now she is a millionaire in 6 hours. Which, I mean, I guess. Matt Gaetz is still getting absolutely pummeled. Absolutely pummeled. Things are looking weird for him, but this is one we should talk about. Let me find this. Here's the problem. The news media is so giddy to convict Matt Gaetz that they're making shit up. Right? Well, maybe they're making shit up. I don't know. It looks bad. They're so giddy to go after him. So here you go. Matt Gaetz sought a preemptive pardon from Trump, but the request was never seriously considered. A preemptive pardon, okay? This is what we've got here. Rep. Matt Gaetz sought a preemptive pardon for himself near the end of President Donald Trump's term and made his request known to someone outside the White House counsel's office, according to 2 people familiar with the matter. But Gaetz's request was never seriously considered by the White House because they decided preemptive pardons were off the table. In the final days of Trump's term, CNN reported that Pat Cipollone and other lawyers for the president told him he should not pardon himself, his family, or any Republican lawmakers in a prospective manner unless he was prepared to list specific crimes. This was dumb advice. Fuck these guys, by the way. Trump should have put a general blanket pardon on himself and his family. Let them fight over it in court. Let them fight over the effect of those pardons in court. But the fact that he didn't, well, if he didn't do this for his family, that was the wrong move. I would have advised him the exact opposite way. Definitely pardon yourself and your family. Definitely do that. Not for Republican lawmakers. Who fucking cares about them in general? But all of his family should have had pardons. Not for specific crimes, but general pardons. Should have done it. Pardon them from every possible federal crime. Go ahead. Do that. Any federal crime committed on or before this date. Pardoned. Done. Done. Should have done it. Then if they want to charge them, then if they even want to bring the investigation, they have to fight all the way to the Supreme Court over the pardon. They should have done that. But they didn't. Gates' push for a pardon, first reported by the New York Times, came during the closing months of the Trump-era Justice Department when federal investigators were beginning an investigation into whether Florida congressman had a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old girl. Gates has denied all of the allegation and has tried to portray the sex trafficking investigation as connected to an alleged extortion plot against him, but the effort fuels fresh scrutiny of Gates after the Justice Department's investigation became public. Times reported Tuesday that it's unclear what Gates knew of the inquiry at the time. Oh, wait a minute. Of his request. And he didn't tell the White House aides when he sought the pardons that he was under investigation. Because maybe he didn't know. Because they're trying to connect his request to this investigation. But he might not have actually known because this request isn't specific. Trump said in a statement Wednesday that Gates did not ask him for a pardon. Some Trump associates have theorized in recent days that Gates' request for multiple pardons, not just for himself, was a move to disguise his own potential legal exposure, the newspaper said. Okay, now we got it. What Gates asked for was a blanket pardon of everyone. Literally everyone! He said, hey, Trump cabinet, not Trump directly. You should pardon everybody. This wasn't actually a request for a pardon. It was him suggesting that everybody should be pardoned. Pardon everybody. Make it a big mess. Pardon literally the entire population of the country, or all Republicans, or pardon everybody. Just do that. That's what Matt Gaetz did. So again, I will be always very upfront. Matt Gaetz is handling this very poorly, or he was. I don't know how he's handling it now. He was handling this very poorly at first, for sure. That doesn't mean he's guilty. It doesn't mean anything like that. It just meant that his public response was lacking. All right? But now the media smells Gates' blood, and they are trying to go after everything. So his request for a blanket pardon for literally everybody is now being taken as he was just trying to pardon everybody so he could pardon himself of the investigation that he maybe didn't even know had happened. James Monroe says, can you pre-pardon? You mean pardon for a crime that hasn't been committed yet? No. But do you mean, can you pardon someone prior to them being charged? Yes. A spokesperson for Gates, however, denied to the Times that his pardon request was related to the Justice Department investigation. Entry-level political operatives have conflated a pardon call from Representative Gates, where he called for President Trump to pardon everyone from himself to his administration to Joe Exotic, with these false and increasingly bizarre partisan allegations against him, spokesperson told the outlet. Those comments have been on the record for some time, and President Trump even retweeted the congressman who tweeted them out himself. Oh, okay, now we get it. The request for the pardon, the very serious request for the pardon, was a fucking tweet. It's a tweet. Person briefed on the probe confirmed to CNN that federal authorities were investigating Gates as a broader probe into trafficking allegations against another Florida politician, an investigation that began in the closing months of the Trump era under Attorney General William Barr. There you go. They're out to destroy Matt Gaetz. Again, if this guy is criminally trafficking women, he deserves to be destroyed. I haven't seen any evidence that he is, though. Like, he doesn't get insulated because he's a Republican, in my personal opinion. However, the media now is they're making an ass of themselves. They had this. They can't stop themselves. That's the problem. They can't stop themselves. They had this. They had Gaetz on the ropes. They could just leave it very subtly and let Gaetz get roasted by people's suspicions, by their doubts. They could let Gaetz basically suffer on the cross and just bleed out. They can't do it, though. They can't do that. That would mean they'd have to stop printing news stories, and they can't do it. Very silly. Very silly choices by the press there, in my opinion. If you're trying to destroy Gaetz, they had him. They were doing a very good job, and now they're going too far. Let's see. What else is on here? Oh! I got an email from Twitch. I got an email from Twitch. Twitch is now going to be investigating off-platform behavior. So that's nice. Not only is Twitch investigating off-platform behavior, but they're so concerned about off-platform behavior that they have hired a third-party investigative company to handle off-platform behavior. So there you go. We'll see how long my Twitch account lasts. Where was it? Oh, let me see if I can find this. Let's see. I don't know if this is the same guy. Hold on. Eagle Loan is saying that the pastor was jailed. The guy who said, "Get out! Get out!" But I can't actually find that guy. That was a different pastor was jailed. James Coates. That's a different guy. Let me see if I can find a better story. Yeah, that was Artur Pawlowski, based Polish pastor. Let's see if I can find something about him. I love this guy. Yeah, no, I don't think that guy has been jailed. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, hey, Ralph had him on the kill stream. Ralph had the Canadian pastor Artur Pawlowski on the kill stream. So I guess if you want to do that, you can check that out. He was there. So go that guy. No, that guy hasn't been jailed. That was a different pastor who was jailed. I'm not going to play the kill stream. It's like a fucking multi-hour show. Here, let's see him. He's on. We've got him on Newsmax. 1 second. But I didn't know he was on the kill stream. I was just scrolling through, and here we go. Ethan Ralph said Canadian COVID hero Artur Pawlowski talks with the kill stream, so you can find it there. It's on Artur's Twitter account here. But here's him on Newsmax. Let's check him out here because this is short.
Get out. Get out of this property. Immediately get out.
Get out.
Immediately, Gestapo is not allowed. Out. Do you understand English? Get out of this property.
I love this
They have been
guy.
harassing us for the past 13 months, just like around the world, because of the pandemic. They have been coming to our church services. They have been coming in big numbers. Our record for Christmas festival is 100 police officers, 52 police cruisers. So they have been doing this intimidation, harassment tactics for a while. And I've told them over and over again, do not you dare to come to our church. Do not come inside. Do not intimidate our children, our elderly, our women. Do not do that. It's against the law. It's actually a criminal offense, punishable with 5 years jail time. And this most holy day, Passover celebration during Shabbat, they just walk in like it was their house. And I was completely taken by surprise. I didn't know what to do. So the only thing I did was kick them out.
Yeah.
Is this a Christian? Are you Christian? Is it Jewish? Can you tell me a little bit about the church?
We are Christians. We
Okay.
are Pentecostals, feeding the homeless people
Got
on the
it.
streets of Calgary, and also congregate in a building. And
Wow. And it looks like you got some of your people behind you there. You have a group
Yeah.
of supporters.
yeah, they all came to support. Those are Walk for Freedom champions, freedom fighters. You know, Canadians have enough. We have enough. Enough is enough. More and more Canadians are rising up. More and more people are finally saying, this is crazy. They're going too far. This is not about health. This is about tyranny.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy's awesome, by the way. A true hero. A true hero. Get out, you Gestapo Nazis! Not allowed! Get out! Finally. Finally someone says it. This is what a lame response from the Calgary Police Department. They know they have broken the law, no apologies. Very cool. Very cool. So Eagle Lone was saying that a pastor was jailed. I thought Eagle was talking about that guy, but they're actually talking about a different pastor who was released back probably about 12 days ago. Automata says, oh, wait, no. Snuggle Struggle says, wanted to say thank you for being you. Love your content. Wish I had more time to enjoy. What type of lawyer should I pursue for such a claim? I know you don't know what happened. May actually pursue legal recourse. I mean, you should try and find a lawyer who specializes in what's called a 1983 or Bivens claim. You could check with personal injury lawyers, but they're people who are suing for personal injury caused by the state. So 1983 or Bivens claims are what you're looking for. Automata says, speaking of making things up, did you know Washington Post has a video titled Chauvin Defense Attorney, Floyd saying I can't breathe was active resistance. It's a 1-minute clip that immediately shows the title to be plainly false. No, really? Let's find that. Let's see if we can do that. Washington Defense Attorney Chauvin. Wait, I can't breathe. Very specific search. Oh, here we go. Let's check this out. This guy is a phenomenal attorney, by the way. He's very, very good at his job.
It's fair to say that one of the things that an officer has to do in the assessment of the reasonableness of his use of force is take into consideration what the suspect is saying and how he's acting.
Yes, 100%.
Right? So if somebody is saying, I can't breathe, and they're passing out and they're not resisting, that's one form of an analysis, right?
Yes.
Because the actions of the suspect are consistent with the verbal utterances he's making, right?
Yes.
Other times, and in this particular case, when Mr. Floyd was initially saying that he couldn't breathe, he was actively resisting arrest.
Initially, when he was in the backseat of the vehicle, yes.
Right. And in fact, he was using his legs to push back and to use his body weight
come on now.
Against the officers, right?
Yes.
And at one point, 3 Minneapolis police officers were attempting to get him into the backseat of the squad car from the passenger side of the car, correct?
Correct.
And they were not able to do so.
No.
Yeah, that title's a little bit misleading, we could say. A little bit misleading. He's not saying that Floyd saying I can't breathe was active resistance. He was saying I can't breathe while actively resisting. That's a pretty big fucking difference. Good Lord. Oh my gosh. Yeah. There you go. I guess. Oh man. Well, like I said, I think one thing I would caution everybody though. One thing I would caution everybody is be wary of Floyd coverage, in which anything is being clipped, which anything is being small, and certainly be discerning when you watch a video that says Chauvin defense attorney destroys whatever, if from someone on the right too, because there's a lot going on in this trial. There's a lot going on in this trial, and I think a big bunch of it is going to hinge on the medical experts and what they're doing here. And the defense attorney is very, very good. Like I said, he's a very, very good defense attorney. He's an excellent cross-examiner. However, don't get lulled into the idea that he's doing a great thing and they're definitely going to acquit Chauvin because his defense attorney is such a monster. That is not, it's not so simple as that. So just to clarify that, because if you get into that sort of thing and you watch sort of one perspective or one line of perspectives on how this trial is going, and then when they get to the jury, if they convict him, and you're like, well, how could he? The defense attorney was doing so good. Maybe the prosecutor was doing better. Now, again, I'm not saying that's what's going on. I'm just saying it's really easy to take a very complicated trial like this one and distill it down, because there's so much. It's such a long trial. There's so much going on, and try and distill it down into some sound bites and then make a determination on what's happening. You got to remember that the jurors are there for hours and hours and hours at a time. So. Do I think they will riot even if he is convicted? Yeah, absolutely. Socialism is for figs says Salty C had his first major live stream on Odyssey with 20,000 viewers, and it was amazing. Definitely old YouTube without the censorship, and it was truly fun and no buffering, just max of 720p and nothing higher. Very cool. Very cool. I don't think I have my Odyssey token yet, or my Odyssey Go Live button yet. Let me, I don't know where it would even be. Where would Go Live even be? Is it in upload? No. Yeah, I don't have it yet. Apparently. So I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting. But I will be multi-streaming to Odyssey. I may do some Odyssey exclusive stuff. We'll see. Ken says, Nick, odds of judge doing judgment notwithstanding the verdict if convicted, very low. Very low. There's no way that judge is going to overturn a conviction of Chauvin if the jury convicts him. I don't think so. So there's that. All right, let me do the super chats, and then we will wrap up the show. I want to do a little bit of Twitch tonight. And what is tonight? Tonight's Wednesday. Wednesday's a movie night, right? And I haven't done any movies while I was down in Florida, so we gotta have a movie night. We're gonna do a movie. I'm not watching Coming to America. No. What about the inverse to that question? Will a judge cannot convict Chauvin over a jury? A judge can relieve someone of conviction over a jury, but a judge cannot convict over a jury. We did Boondock Saints, Ken Jennings. My Cousin Vinny. I was thinking of I was thinking of Unhinged or So I Married an Axe Murderer. But I'm not sure. I want to do My Cousin Vinny, but I don't feel good. And so I don't want to do My Cousin Vinny tonight when I don't feel very good. We did Dread Xeno. I Come in Peace isn't on there. Is it? If I Come in Peace is on there, I'm doing that. Guaranteed. It's not even listed here. The fuck? What was the alternate title for I Come in Peace? Infected Goat says, I worked at Troma. You did? Man, I watched Redneck Zombies about 1,000 times. Demolition Man isn't on there. Dark Angel is the alternate title. There it is. Yeah, it's not on Prime, unfortunately. That movie's so awesome. I love it. Let's see. Lots of Dolph Lundgren movies on Prime, though. Damn. Oh, some guy emailed me, though. I would never promise to watch Face Off, so I know that's a lie. Some guy emailed me a thing that does watch parties for any service that you can do through Twitch. it does the sync up playback for any service. So I'm probably going to try that out soon. Roverud, we already did Top Secret. You're right, Ken. I will do that. So I don't remember what it's called. I gotta look. I don't have it right in front of me. Any response from Razor? I mean, I don't. I tweeted something to Razor, and I don't know that he. Let me see. I don't know that he ever responded. I don't know if he even saw it. I don't really care. No, he didn't respond to me. So what I tweeted in response to Razor was, Raffle, I'll have to address this later, but basically the guy got done in for executing them later, if I remember right. I'll review it, but I'm pretty sure it had a lot to do with him with executing them after incapacitating them. And then someone said, possible blood sports. And Razorfist said, blow your blood sports out your ass, drama parasite. So that was that. No, but anyway, yeah. Okay, let me do these chats. Sounds like Razorfist. Yeah, I don't know why anyone would think Razor would say anything different. And again, I have no problem with anything Razor said to me, so doesn't bother me at all. Mario Carter 13 says, Razorfist, I don't like drama. Also Razorfist, fuck you, Rackets, you're full of shit. He was, oh my goodness. I didn't take it that way, but okay. Hail RGE says, super straight. Peppa says, hail lobster. A10 says, Jake Trans video on the prison industrial complex where $5 billion was taken by federal law enforcement in 2014 by civil asset forfeiture. What are the rules for civil forfeiture for federal and state? And is it not a violation of the takings clause? Oh, civil asset forfeiture is just, it's just a dandy thing. What are the rules? It's literally whatever the fuck they want. And you can try and take it back. If there's something they believe to be used in conjunction with a crime, they could take it. There you go. There's your civil asset forfeiture rules. Pretty hard to fight against it, too. Night of Hope says, yeah, it actually sounds to me like this guy was probably guilty. I definitely don't think this is the guy to defend. Leave it to a lanky, harebrained internet personality, wannabe tough guy like Razorfist to spurg out and do it anyway. Going good, dingus. I mean, I guess. I don't think... Again, I'm not finding myself in super disagreement with Razor on some of the principles here. But I, like I said, I just see why a jury convicted him. Zeno the Stoic already watched Robot Jocks too, man. Socialism is for Fig says, Deathstalker 1 and 2, please. It has amazing naked women fighting with swords. We've watched Deathstalker 1 at least twice. And Deathstalker 2 we have also watched. But thank you. Thank you. Anonymous says, Kiwi Farms, but more importantly, Odd Guy and ED are getting sued. Since you're Odd Guy's lawyer, make sure you do a good job defending our favorite Jews. Yeah, a lot of people have it in their idea or in their head right now to sue the Kiwi Farms. So that's nice. Bad Dragonite says, I am the law. Zarwarudo says, so they're setting up hospice care for my mom because the brain cancer treatments didn't work. On the bright side, the company I work for just announced that they're shutting down the location I work at, so I'm out of a job soon. Neat. God damn. Sorry to hear that, buddy. I hope, hopefully it'll lead you to a better job. James Monroe, falling down is not on Prime. Mario Carter 13 says, Chauvin's lawyer looks like Ron Toye if he hit the gym harder than his ex-wife. Night of Hope says, you should do all this live on a show in addition to the video. I don't want to watch a video later. It's way more fun to do it here. No, the problem with doing some of that stuff is the back and forth between him and the woman is already 30 minutes long. I'm trying to keep it under like a 2-hour segment. Voice of a Free America. I was not a big fan of Hobo with a Shotgun. It was okay, but I thought they were trying too hard. Bad Dragonite says, would he have improved his chances with a jury if he'd instead recorded him saying Arnold one-liners? Yes. Yes. Night of Hope says, hell of a presumption of innocence, right? Throw a cripple in a jail cell with no pain meds, let him crawl on the floor. Man, these stupid people that think the government gives a shit about them are hilarious to me. They do this to anybody. Assholes. Bad Dragonite says, on jail medicine, my cousin was arrested on drug charges in Memphis. During his stay, had his head busted open by Big Bubba because he had one of the good sleeping mats. The jail was just like, nah, he'll be fine, and released him with blood pouring out. Nice. Timothy Reaper says, I have Kurt's tombstone ready. It reads, he won. Uncivil Law says, Nick is weak and has no drinking game. See, it's a good AI. You can tell. You can tell it's a good one. Automata says, an on-time start. I don't even know who you are. C. Goody 564 says, please keep the old intro. It's so much better. The new one was funny for a few days, but that's it. I don't know. The old one I have some problems with too, though. Gawker's Death Rattle says, press F for Uncivil becoming a registered Democrat. Damn. Because he's dead. Get it? Asia Frazier says, how funny would it be if it turned out the vaccine was made from some manner of disinfectant? That would be funny. Random Blaze says, there's a gem called Zombievers on Amazon Prime. It's great. That you should check out, Rackets. I bet we will see a case in the future where the prosecution tries to use you buying a weapon for defense as premeditation. Depends on the purchase of the weapon, but yeah, I'm sure that that probably has already happened. But yeah, Zombievers is very funny. I liked it quite a bit. Andrew War Snowboard says, is having not been to a Knicks game in over a year really a form of suffering? No. The Field says, I hope Monica disinfected that boot before swallowing it so thoroughly. It'd be a shame if bootlicking wasn't COVID safe. Talbot Link says, Groucho Marx, I've never been normal, but I'm pretty regular most days. Lil Meme says, following the science went from no masks to wearing a mask to needing 2 masks over a year, but man, I sure do love memes. Bob Costa says, thoughts on cops that comply with unconstitutional orders to shut down businesses for no reason, or cops that don't choose to protest stealing guns? I wish they would. I wish they would. Torin90 says, have you seen the 40K film based on The Last Church on YouTube? If not, highly recommended. It's awesome. No, I saw that it was there, but I haven't watched it. Lil Meme says, did I mention I love me some memes? You did. Kai Magnus says, maybe they would like to ask England what happens when the peasants decide the government isn't in charge anymore. Only happened to them about 8 times. Grand Kai 9 says, if you think us Minnesotans have cabin fever after a year, imagine how Canada feels. Dixon Kuntz says, CPS banging on the door like a horror movie. Let me in. Don't. Jesse says, read the Gulag Archipelago, at least the first chapter. Tell them to get out before they tell you to get on the train. JB says, forgive this 27-year-old boomer if I'm late to the party, but did you ever discuss how Project Veritas used your clip discussing the court's refusal to dismiss the Project Veritas versus New York Times defamation case? I mentioned it. Yes. Thank you. The Gray One says, evening, Nick. Just returned from work and ready for an entertaining night. Hope you and all have been well. Had a rough day at work. Need a bit to get my mind off it. Well, hopefully this provided that for you. Mario Carter 13 says, in the immortal words of JoJo, get out. Leave. 200 Watt Studio says, shoot them, yes, but don't go finishing them off. Bad. Samuel Hendricks says, no harm, no foul. Wit 11B says, Razor is a turd who thinks Striper is good and Dimebag Daryl is bad at guitar. His opinion is invalid. Pete Cowan says, if I were on the jury, I would have convicted him too. Samuel Hendricks says, wait, does that mean paranoid people can't defend themselves? They're always thinking about the need to defend themselves. Well, I don't know about that. It was the things that did him in, the level of planning involved, the executions after the fact, and the recordings, man, and then his subsequent statements to the police. Wit11B says, Nick talking like he's in California. I mean, our governor models his behavior after Newsom. And we're also the only state that didn't vote for Reagan. The only one. So I kind of am in California. Automata says, pro tip, if a statute requires your use of force to be reasonable, maybe don't tell police you use more force than you needed to, including a kill shot. Correct. Wood11B says, Razor is turd supreme. Pseudosnark says, I mean, I agree. I'm a cop. And if someone I had previously arrested booted my house door in armed, I wouldn't talk to cops until I had a lawyer present, period. Get a lawyer. Lorgar Apologist says, you should drink some of this literally distilled Contempt brand whiskey made by Iron Warrior Warpsmiths in their off hours. It's 40K proof. CJ says, maybe you need to remove your family so you can move. They were vermin. 5K here, 10K there. I'm sure you have tarps. Oh, no. Enabled Diamond says, my family and I are Polish. My family went through the bad event in World War II. We left Poland to be free. It feels like we're starting to enter 1930s Germany again. Sneed, thank you for the donation. Rick, welcome to lawyer status. Genshiken, welcome to super lawyer status. Mentendo Power says, anyone knows what Mutta is mad about this time? Mutta? Enabled Diamond says, in my opinion, I feel the U.S. is headed to 1930s Germany. As a Polish person, my family fled that. I only feel we're headed to that again. It kind of looks like it. I'm hoping we turn it around. I really am. Barb Rogers, Little Miss Sunburn says, love you, Nick. My favorite macaw of law ever. Oh, thank you. Fujimura Pantsu says, is that third-party investigative company made up of 300-pound land whales from Twitter? You know the answer to that. Skyhime says, hi, my name is Nux Taku. I dare you to say the S word at least 5 times. Let's see if the Twitch whale gets you. What's the S word? Is it simp? 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 Is it that one? Is it simp? Sneed, it was supposed to have a message. Just tag me. Tag me. I'll read it. Random Blaze says, in my CHL class, they taught that you fire until the threat to your life is over. That means that you have dumped half the mag and the threat is still there and you continue with the rest of the mag and reload. I agree. CJ says he kind of looks like Toye if Toye had testosterone. Kiwi Goes Live says, I come in pieces called Dark Angel in the EU. 1.21 gigawatts. Says, happy sober Wednesday, Nikki. And then some pancakes. I wish I had some pancakes. Sneed says, it was just a dumb joke. It doesn't matter. YouTube censorship is strong. Snuggle Struggle says, taxpayers have been funding the Nation of Islam. What just happened at the Capitol, and why is MSM still rabid over January 6th instead? Hypocrisy? Yeah. Yep. Not going to argue with you. All right, guys. Oh, Bad Dragon Knight says, Mad Max is on Prime now. Also, Invincible is a good choice. At least the first episode. Okay. That's enough for today. That's enough for today. We're going to go over to Twitch, watch a movie, have a good time. If you haven't followed me on Twitch, make sure you do. If that's something you like to do. Watching movies and playing video games is fun. And I'm probably going to start doing a Twitch broadcast in the near future that will involve kind of a daily news review, news videos, meme reviews, stuff like that. That's a little easier to do on Twitch than it is on YouTube. And then from there, we'll be clipping out content. By the way, I have gotten a whole bunch of resumes. Thank you for sending them. I will be reviewing them. I'll be reaching out to do some hopefully some interviews and get a feel for who will be a good fit. And I will let you know. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you all to everyone who sent in their resumes. If you did not hear about it yesterday in my drunken ramblings, I mentioned I am accepting resumes for an editor to start producing clips for this channel and the other channel. And so that is that's something that's happening. If you're interested in that, email it to me. Email me the resume. But yeah, you'll have to work with me, which is actually a downer most of the time because I'm a dick. But you know, that's how it goes. But anyway, we'll talk about it. Again, I will attempt to respond to every resume request, at least with a response. I don't like to leave people in limbo. And I will be setting up interviews as I am able to review them. I'm working on it, Angry Baneling. I barely touched a computer today other than the being on the show and then the live chat Wednesday. So, Onyx Robot says in Kermit voice, za worldo, P.S. worth it. Z.A. worldo, za worldo. Okay. Mario Carter 13 says, nice show, kid. Would be better with Bud Light. And Wolfgang Deo says, lol, I finally got a wireless repeater to solve my connection issues causing the stream to be difficult to watch. And I haven't yet watched the live stream live. Oops. Oh, well. Love you, Nick. Glad you got applicants. Yes. Yes. All right, guys. Thanks a bunch for hanging out. Let's play the outro. See you over on Twitch. Peace. Peace.
Oh, he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some law-splaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes meta, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an Ardbeg, a bow, more a love rug. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nam to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we are now. Oh, the guests are all planet folk, from Doug T to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nam to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass